when you're working with somebody in the psychological realm, they're going to have that conversation about why are you doing this and exploring what does this trigger back when you were 4 or 6 and you fell into the pool backwards and hit your head. So this is going to go into that kind of conversation, whereas coaching is going to have a conversation about where you are and the future moving forward. So
Okay.
that's a really good marriage of those two conversations. So the question that I would ask you is, you had talked about being nervous about going forward and failing, and your words were like everything else I have tried, which is
Yeah.
super powerful, right? That's heavy, heavy language. So you've given this a lot of thought. So what are you doing differently this time that you didn't do last times?
It's interesting. It's like the one of the things that I thought of this morning was that when I was recycling tires and went bankrupt, during that period, I was stomping on a tire. I stood on the machine and tried to stomp a tire bale down, and it was wet, and I fell.
Ooh.
And I fell in such a way that I hit my shoulder, my right shoulder, on a chunk of steel, and then I hit my head too. But it hit my shoulder so hard that I thought I had poked a hole in my scapula.
Ooh.
And it shocked the cervical plexus on the right hand side so severely that I was paralyzed except for my hand. I could grab things, but I couldn't move the arm. And I was alone.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I'm driving my little stick shift car. So I had to shift with my left hand because I could only hold the wheel with the right hand. And I was like, okay, but it's like this fascinating thing, because it's like I still have a shoulder issue, and I don't know if it's related to that, but it may or may not be. It doesn't matter. But it's like this. So it's like the issue is this. The right hand is for grasping things and particular things, like what you want, pulling it out of the air, okay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so the left hand is like universal. I use it as it's a holder. But that's the opposite for left-handed people, as you may know. But whatever. It's a left brain, right brain distinction. But it's like, so I'm like this. So it's like I was thinking of it, and it's like this. It's like I don't go for it fully. I have not gone for it fully when I went for things in the past. Although I thought I was, maybe. Does that make sense? I did not go for reach as hard as I could. And so it's like, this is the issue here is like, make sure that effort is sustained and doable before you even try, so that it's within range. And I spoke with Eric Leiner yesterday. I got confused.
Well, there's many of them. So, right.
I spoke with Eric Leiner about
Yes.
Programmers and getting programmers lined up, because it's going to take some programming. But it's like, so I'm reorienting my thinking towards what programming needs to be done, and that work, which is like a huge element of it.
But let me ask you, because that imagery you had of damaging yourself through a fall because you didn't properly recognize how wet the tire was, and you fell, and you were disabled on that one side except you could grasp.
Yeah.
And so this left side is doing more. So am I understanding from that now you're going to be using more of that left hand? What does that mean that you're going to?
Oh no, it's like
connect with me.
It's like I'm reaching out for the particular thing and make sure that I use my right hand better to fully grasp the thing that I'm trying to do.
And what does that mean, to fully grasp the thing you're trying to do?
Well, that will be partly is do the homework ahead of time to make sure that it's doable.
Okay. What else?
Second thing will be to make sure you have the resources to do the thing that are required to do the thing properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the implementation.
That's it, just implementation? So making sure you've done their homework, making sure you have the resources.
Part of the homework is to make sure that I'm not doing it for psychologically improper reasons, which I'm pretty confident I'm not, but I want to check all the circuits before I start devoting too much resources.
Okay. And where are you kind of internally on that? Because again, you started this conversation with um, a fear of failure, which has its own mindset.
Yeah, but I wasn't afraid of failure till like yesterday. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, well,
Okay.
this could be bad because I'm old, man. I'm like, I don't need to be like dusting up and standing up again after getting knocked over and dusting off and trying to go again. I'm like, okay, no. So I want to make damn sure that it's square and doable. And I think that so I'm just testing the circuits. That's kind of where I'm at on that.
Okay. So testing the circuits to do the homework, what does that mean, testing the circuits?
So that's a psychological make sure I'm
Okay.
square psychologically.
Yeah.
And then starting to find out about the how much resource deployment is going to be necessary to do it. And then make sure.
And that, let me ask, sorry to interrupt, but so the resource deployment is there both an immediate and then a longer term? Like what do you need immediately to do it, and what do you need sustained over time while it's getting going? Is that what you mean by resources? So it's not just resources, I'm going to need this to start it up. I'm going to need this for 6 months and then I should be up on my feet. How are you thinking about resources?
I'm thinking of the resources like startup resources, mostly the programming costs, because it's like I can generate enough surplus that I can sustain my other activities and be able to do that and
Yes.
devote the time to do it. It's just a matter of the programming costs. Those are hard to estimate.
Let me ask you this, and I only say this because we've had one or two conversations, and just let me ask you this question. What about the resources for you in terms of, oh, I don't know, sleep, family, things other than this that make you, being able to work out? How do those resources, and those are partially psychological, mental, and physical, how do they fit into that calculation?
Yeah, I would make sure I have enough for that too. I don't want for sleep and exercise. I won't change my habit. So I haven't got a plan for that. So I haven't really adequately planned for that. I should put that in the planning stage.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is so because there is a trade-off because I do other work and I will have to probably back off on that some, but it's like there's a potential there. I have some surplus that I'm not utilizing.